All right. Hey, how's it going, everyone? Hey, Aftab, thanks for joining us today. I just want to tell you a
Absolutely.
little bit about what we're getting ready to do here. Is Pam and I are getting ready to have a bad art night, virtual style. We were supposed to do this on April 15th at 3 Points. So we've just decided to do a virtual version. But this time, we want people to talk about what's like inspiring them, the things that are like, motivating them while they're under this sort of unprecedented times in quarantine. So why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself, and then Pam's got some questions for you, and we're just going to hear what you have to say today.
Thanks so much, Matt and Pam. I really appreciate you having me on to Bad Art Night. When you first approached me about it, I thought I was going to have to paint something via Zoom, and I was like terrified about that. So I'm glad that it's just an interview. But I really appreciate what you guys are doing is really emblematic of what the community is doing, finding creative ways as we're quarantined and separated into our own homes and our own spaces, finding ways to connect the community together. And I really applaud that. And I'm really grateful to be here. Just briefly, my name's Aftab Pureval. I'm the Hamilton County Clerk of Courts. I know, not a lot of people know what the Clerk of Courts is. It is essentially the record keeper for all court data and court documents. Any matter that is matriculating their way through the litigation court system, all of those documents, records, all that data gets housed in my office. So not a sexy position, but I'm incredibly passionate about access to justice, about justice reform, about making sure that no matter what you look like, where you're from, or how much money you have the same access to our courts as everyone else. And so that's why I ran for that position, and I was lucky enough to win, and I'm now serving in it.
Amazing.
Well, I have to tell you, I feel like the city of Cincinnati, Hamilton County is so lucky to have you.
Absolutely. I agree with Pam.
You're very kind.
Amazing.
Very kind.
You're an amazing voice of justice and kindness and community, and you're a perfect fit for inspiration today. So, Aftab,
very kind. Thank you.
I follow you religiously, and I have been watching things that I've seen you post that you are inspired by. And can you share just a couple things that are really inspiring you right now within the greater Cincinnati community?
Yeah, I mean, these are such extraordinarily tough times. The pandemic is raging on. There's a lot of uncertainty, a lot of anxiety. The future is just unfortunately unknown in a lot of ways. And when you look at the internet, or when you're watching the news on television, unfortunately, it's a lot of bad news. But the silver lining in all of this, what I've been so inspired by, is everyday people doing extraordinary and heroic things. And it's really given us some perspective about, the people among us who, maybe we felt some kind of way about, now understanding how essential all of us are, that we really are all in this together. And I'm talking about sanitation workers who are heroes right now, who are critical to making sure that our system of government and our society functions. I'm talking about those clerks at Kroger, our first responders, of course, our nurses and our doctors, all of these heroes who are rising to the occasion and doing extraordinary things. And so I've been so inspired by that I've tried to highlight however I can in the small ways and network that I have, to really shine a spotlight on some of these heroes. So a couple of weeks ago, I spoke to a doctor, someone who was born and raised in Cincinnati, now practicing in Denver. He's a pulmonary critical care doctor. He picked up and moved to New York to volunteer at the epicenter of the epidemic. I talked to a 17-year-old kid, a junior in high school at St. X, who's created a website out of whole cloth to help senior citizens run errands and get the groceries that they need. And of course, I'm inspired by my own wife, who works for Tri-Health. She works at Bethesda North. She's a hospitalist. She's on the front lines of this. And it's, I see firsthand just how incredibly scary and how much anxiety she has. People who are incredibly sick, who are in some instances dying. And because of the insidiousness of this disease, they're not allowed to have visitors. And so a lot of these folks are alone, and Whitney, my wife, has to care for them, gets to care for them, has the privilege of caring for them, but also has to has to be there for them emotionally. And it's a big sacrifice because, you know, part of the threat of this disease is you don't know whether you have it or not. So she's constantly worried about passing it to her elderly patients or bringing it home to myself or our 6-month-old son. And despite that fear and that anxiety, she goes to work every single day inspired to make a difference, to save someone's life and to make some family feel better and feel whole. And it's just hard not to be inspired by that. So all of these people, all of these everyday people waking up in the morning and doing extraordinary, heroic things, meeting this challenge is just so inspiring. And the last thing that I'll say is, you know, we've seen an outpouring of support from the community. So, you know, obviously we have essential workers out there fighting on the front lines every day, but a lot of people are stuck at home and they're wondering, what can we do? And I've just been so inspired about how much work that they're doing for others. So we've been organizing for the past couple of weeks volunteers to help the senior areas, senior citizens services here in Cincinnati, and Meals on Wheels deliver meals to senior citizens.
Awesome.
In just 4 days, we had 120 people sign up, hundreds of meals being delivered by everyday Cincinnatians. And so that philanthropy, that charity, that part of Cincinnati DNA is still strong, and it's probably stronger now than ever.
Yeah, the real heroes of all of this, right? The ones that are getting out there every day. Absolutely, just like your wife and all those people, for sure, 100%.
Absolutely.
Those words really were great, Aftab. Amazing.
Yeah.
Really feel that too.
Yeah.
I think Pam and I are both on the same page with that. That this experience for us isn't just about art. It's about just like getting out and seeing your community and having your finger on the pulse and just like looking at the true, real people that are out there that are contributing, that get looked over so much.
Absolutely. Yeah, that was beautifully stated by both of you. I mean, I'm verklempt and inspired.
Well, you know, and the last thing I'll say is what you guys are doing is so critically important because, you know, art and creativity have this way of connecting us, and you're seeing it online. You're seeing it through these Zoom conferences, through Facebook Lives. The creativity that's pouring out, I think, is a critical piece to making people feel normal and making people feel safe and okay and optimistic about the future. So I really appreciate everything you guys are doing too.
Thank you.
Well, thanks a lot. Well, again, thanks for joining us today. We'll be posting this and links to help out folks at Meals on Wheels and things like that we'll get from you as well.
And don't think you're off the hook though. We're still expecting that painting. So
no, I want to see the painting.
No, it's terrible. It would be terrible. I'd rather paint than sing, so I'm happy to paint if those are my choices.
All right. Well, thanks for being here. Thanks so much, Aftab, and we just can't wait to share this with the Cincinnati world and community, and see everyone on April 22nd at 7 p.m.